All right, let's dive into a story that's, well, as old as humanity itself. But it's also a story that is actively reshaping our world right now as we speak. We're talking about migration and the incredible influence of what we call diaspora communities. If you boil it all down, our entire history as a species is really just one big story of movement. It's fundamental to who we are. This urge to explore, to seek something new, to just move from one place to another. It's in our DNA.
So let's start right there with this history of movement. I mean, people have always been on the move, but it's in our hyper-connected modern world that this timeless story has become so visible and honestly, so incredibly influential on a global scale.
Okay, but to really get a handle on just how big of a deal this is, we need to make sure we're all speaking the same language. It's so important that we're on the same page with some of these key ideas. So first things first, let's define our terms. First up is the big one, migration. At its simplest, it's just the physical act of moving. You're going from one place to another. Could be within the same country, or it could be across an international border. Pretty straightforward, right? But here's where it gets really interesting. What happens after the move? That brings us to this crucial concept of a diaspora. See, this isn't just about a bunch of people living in a new country. A diaspora is a community that forms when those migrants keep these really strong, active ties back to where they came from. And that connection, whether it's about family or culture or money, that's the absolute key.
So you have to ask, what pushes people to make such a huge move in the first place? Well, the reasons are as varied as people are, but they often come down to some really powerful universal forces. Things like escaping war, or crushing economic hardship, or political oppression. Sometimes it's for an education, and so often it's about chasing that universal human dream, the simple hope for a better future.
So you have people moving, and you have these diaspora communities forming. What happens next? This is where we see their profound impact. We're talking about the diaspora influence, how these groups literally weave new and vibrant patterns into the very fabric of the societies they join. And it's absolutely a two-way street. Think about it. These communities contribute so much to their new homes through their work, the taxes they pay, but they also send money back home, supporting families and entire local economies. They completely enrich their new societies with amazing food and music and traditions, all while sharing new ideas and languages. They become these living, breathing bridges between countries.
Of course, it's not always a simple or easy story. Not at all. To really understand the whole picture, we absolutely have to look at the other side of the journey, the challenges, and the real hardships that are an undeniable part of this experience for so many people.
This gives us a really clear, balanced view. On one side, you have all that incredible economic and cultural enrichment. You have stronger ties between countries. But on the other side, you have the harsh realities of discrimination, the struggles of integrating, and simple but huge hurdles like language barriers. And for the countries people leave, there's the very real challenge of population loss, sometimes called a brain drain. It's complicated. So, when you put it all together, you realize that this is about so much more than just people moving from point A to point B. We have to zoom out and see this beautifully complex, woven world and understand how this constant flow of people is fundamentally changing our sense of identity itself. And honestly, this idea from our source material just says it perfectly. Migration and diaspora are not just about movement, but about identity, adaptation, and global interaction. It's about how we change, how we adapt, and how we connect with each other in this world we all share. And that leaves us with a pretty big question to chew on. As we look at this global tapestry that's being constantly rewoven by all this movement, what does the word home even mean anymore? Something to think about.